Hi everyone, Monisha here. In this video, I will be completing part 2, that is forest and wildlife. In forest and wildlife, we will be discussing about biodiversity, the use of biodiversity for the sustenance of Mother Earth and management of forest. So these are the topics we are going to discuss here, and all other subtopics, the governmental issues and what are the measures taken by government to conserve forest and wildlife. So these are the things we are going to discuss here. Let us start the session. Biodiversity. So what is biodiversity? Biodiversity is the variety of animals and plants found on this planet, including the geographic location they are found in. The diversity of species is not evenly distributed throughout the planet because life depends on many factors including geography. For example, tropical regions support more life than polar regions. Plants, animals, and climate work together to maintain the balance of nature. They act as nuts, bolts, and oil of a perfectly tuned machine. Pyramid of nature's balance. Produces herbivorous, carnivorous, and top carnivorous. Biodiversity is important for sustaining life on Earth because it prevents any one species from throwing the balance of nature out of order. Example, snakes are not a welcome presence in our lives. So we fear them and try to get rid of them too. But one of many things that snakes feed on is rats. If we were to kill all the snakes, we would end up having a terrible rat problem. Biodiversity means maintaining the balance of nature so that no one thing can become too powerful and therefore bad for everyone else. What is biodiversity? Biodiversity is the term which represents all the varieties of life in Earth. That's a big thing to sum up. Thousands of different wild habitats, millions of different species, billions of different individuals, and trillions of characteristics they all have. The total biodiversity of a planet is immense, and which is a good thing because the more biodiversity, the more secure of all life on Earth, including ourselves. Only when life is at its most varied, rigorous, biodiverse, we hope to thrive. We may not know it, but we need towering forest across 1/3 of land surface to block away carbon and keep the climate stable. We need millions of pollinators and billions of soil organisms and megatons of planktons to keep the food we eat in supply. We need strange plants in deep of the jungle to create our medicines and coral reefs and mangrove forest to protect the coast. Our planet's biodiversity provides all the things we need for free, but it will only do so if there is lots of it, and at the moment it's under attack. In last 50 years, activities are dramatically reduced biodiversity across the globe. We snuffed out habitats, reduced the population of wild animals by 60%. And even driven whole species are extinct. The number of lions in Africa has dropped by 65%. The number of flying insects in Europe has dropped by 75%. The number of bluefin tuna in the Pacific Ocean is dropped by 95%. Biodiversity is dropping everywhere and fast. This is dangerous and catastrophic for nature and also for ourselves. We talk about climate change a lot, but biodiversity loss is as important an issue as climate change. So how do we stop this loss of life? How do we ensure the biodiversity of our planet's vital statistics begins to increase again? In fact, we already know it in exact what to do. When we imagine a forest, we picture trees. Trees are a defining feature of forest, but a forest is much more than a collection of trees. A forest is a community of myriad plants, animals, fungi, lichens, and a host of microorganisms. Forest communities extend from the crowns of tall trees downward through the understory to the forest floor deep into the soil beneath. So, what is a forest? The forest is a community of trees and other organisms. Their interactions with soil, minerals, water, and the atmosphere, and the complex web. How do forests work? Forests occupy 1/3 of Earth's land area and are home to over 2/3 of the world's species. Forests have adapted to a wide variety of environment. They dominate the humid tropics, flourish throughout the temperate landscapes, and skirts the edge of the Arctic. Forests cling to the mountain tops and endure near desert conditions. Wherever they are found, forests are critical players in the biosphere, recycling essential nutrients, regulating our water supply, storing carbon, and influencing weather and climate. So, how do forests work? Forests influence climate on the local and global scale. Forests absorb more solar radiation than most other types of land, provide shade and moderate effect of wind, and add moisture to the atmosphere through transpiration. But even more important is their pivotal role in global carbon cycle. Carbon is an essential component of all living things, and forests are the key to biological processes that drive the global carbon cycle. Forests remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere through a process called photosynthesis. This carbon is stored in living tissue such as leaves, wood, and roots. When trees die, the carbon is stored as dead organic matter in the soil. As this organic matter decomposes, carbon dioxide is released back into the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is known as a greenhouse gas because it blocks long-wave radiation or heat from escaping into space. Forests can influence climate by affecting the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. In tropical forests, nearly all of the carbon is stored in live vegetation. When forests are burned, the carbon content immediately escapes back into the earth. When forests are harvested, the organic materials in the exposed soil begins to decompose, and the carbon is gradually released as carbon dioxide, which traps heat and warms the surface of the planet. Because of their role in carbon cycle, forests directly influence the level of atmospheric carbon dioxide and thus global climate. Water is essential to life, and forests play a vital role in the natural process that conserve and purify this critical resource. Let us move on to the new topic, that is stakeholders. Who are stakeholders of forest life? We all use varieties and various forest produce, but our dependency on forest resources varies. Some of us have access to alternatives and some do not. When we consider the conservation of forests, we need to look at the stakeholders. Stakeholders are these four people: the local people or the tribal people, the industrialist, the forest department, the forest and wildlife activists. First, the people or tribe. They are the one who are looking after the forest and making the forest flourishing. They use resources in such a way that much damage is not done to the environment. They collect fodder and graze their forest. Bamboo, gather fruits, nuts, and medicinal herbs. They usually lop the branches of the trees and pluck their leaves but do not cut the whole tree. So, most of these tribal people, and everyone almost, are dependent on forest itself. Next is forest department. So, what they do? In the name of development projects like building roads, construction of dams, due to which they destroy large amount of biodiversity due to their needs, and cut down forest trees for timber for furniture. To plant trees for timber, such as pine, teak, and eucalyptus. Forests are cleared of all vegetation in a larger scale and just grow specific types of plants like pine, teak, and eucalyptus, which hampers the biodiversity and also the wildlife and animals which are living in that forest. Next is the industrialists. Some industries based on forest produce, like timber industry, paper mills, lac industry, sports equipment industry. Most of the deforestation is caused by industrial needs itself. After cutting down a major area of forest, they don't even plant the trees there. They move on to other forests to clear it out. Have major vested in forest resources. Forests are the source of raw materials for these industries. These two instances show bravery and love for forest by the local people, that are the tribes and local people nearby the forest. There are certain people who are not dependent on forest in a way, but who wants forest to be conserved to prevent undue damage to the environment. One such is the Chipko Andolan, reigning in Garhwal, high up in Himalayas in early 1970s. A logging contractor had been allowed to cut down the trees in the forest close near the village. The villagers reached forest quickly and clasped the tree trunk with their arms, preventing the workers from cutting the trees. Thus, the trees were saved. Next, another important community in the edge of Rajasthan is Bishnoi community. A group of 363 people sacrificed their life for forest resource. Led by Amrita Devi Bishnoi, protected the Kejri trees in Kejrali village near Jodhpur. The government has recently instituted an Amrita Devi Bishnoi National Award for Wildlife Conservation in memory of Amrita Devi Bishnoi. Let us learn about a true story on the Bishnois of Rajasthan. In Indian philosophy, man has been advised not to tamper with nature and to preserve ecological balance. The Bishnois of Rajasthan do not just believe this, but live this faith. For centuries, they put their life at stake to protect their immediate environment. They love the environment very heartily. Their philosophy promotes an inclusive life. The nature and the wildlife is in complete harmony where the Bishnois live. They are the real forest conservationists. The Bishnois do not indulge in violence, nor do they consume non-vegetarian food. They do not allow anyone to kill animals. People are not even allowed to cut trees. There are many examples of Bishnois who gave their lives to protect this land. The biggest example in the world is the Kejri village, where 363 people lost their lives while trying to save the Kejrali tree. They chose to sacrifice their lives instead of fighting with the king and maharajas of the land. All the villagers decided that they would rather give their lives than let the trees be cut down. Amrita Devi decided to lay down her life first. She embraced the tree as a mark of protest and was beheaded. The main motto of the Bishnoi tribe is, if you respect and value every being on this planet, the world will be preserved. Their philosophy promotes an inclusive life with nature and all its aspects. The Bishnois fiercely protect the plants and animals in the neighborhood from intruders. Now I will tell you an example of people's participation in the management of forest. In 1972, the West Bengal Forest Department recognized its failures in reviving the degraded sal forest in the southwestern district of the state. Traditional methods of surveillance and policing had led to a complete alienation of the people from the administration, resulting in frequent clashes between forest officials and villagers. Forest and land related conflicts in the region were also a major factor in fueling the militant peasant movement led by the Naxalites. Accordingly, the department changed its strategy, making beginning of Arbary Forest Range in Midnapur district. Here, at the insistence of far-seeing forest officer A.K. Banerjee, villagers were involved in the protection of 1,272 hectares of badly degraded sal forest. In return for the help in protection, villagers were given employment in both silviculture and harvesting operations. 25% of the final harvest and allowed fuel wood and fodder collection on payment of the nominal fee. With the active and willing participation of the local community, the sal forest of Arbary underwent a remarkable recovery in 1983. A previously worthless forest was valued now of about 12.5 crores. Let us have a quick recap. Forest. Forest is defined as an area set aside for the production of timber and other forest produce or maintained under woody vegetation for certain indirect benefits which it provides, example climatic and protective. In ecology, it is defined as a plant community predominantly of trees and other woody vegetation, usually with closed canopy. This is the forest cover of our own country. The green shades locates the forest in all the regions. And this is the forest cover of the world. The 10 countries with largest forest area according to 2005 census. The first is Russian Federation and the last one in top 10 is India. Humans, both problem and solution to biodiversity loss. As a problem, irresponsible human practices contribute to biodiversity loss. As a solution, humans have the knowledge, expertise, and financial resources to conserve biodiversity. What can youths and schools do to conserve biodiversity? Integrate biodiversity lessons in appropriate subjects, conduct school activities that will promote biodiversity conservation, students to take the lead in their homes and communities, conserve water and electricity, recycle, reuse clothes, paper, cans, glass and plastic bottles, adopt simple lifestyles, that is consume less and produce less garbage, dispose waste properly and eat together. Why we should plant trees? A single mature tree can release enough oxygen back into the atmosphere to support 2 human beings. A single mature tree can absorb 4.5 kg of air pollutants, including 1.8 kg of ozone and 1.4 kg of particulates. Trees store carbon and help slow human-caused climate change. Tree canopies and leaf litter protect the soil surface from the erosive power or rain. Let us have a conclusion of this chapter. Biodiversity is our life. If the biodiversity got lost at this rate, then in the near future, the survival of human being will be threatened. So, it is our moral duty to conserve biodiversity as well as environment. Long-term maintenance of species and their management requires cooperative efforts across entire landscape. Biodiversity should be dealt with at scale of habitats or ecosystems rather than species level. So this is our biodiversity. If you have any queries, suggestions on this video, please comment me on the comment section. Think green and save the earth. Thanks for watching my videos.